There are days that the only capacity that I have left is to give him to my mother.
Yeah.
If that's all you have that day, that is being a good mother. If you can
Absolutely.
If you can just show up the best that you can on that day.
Hi everyone and welcome back to No Place Like Home. I am your host Larissa and I am joined again by the beautiful Jaz.
Hello, beautiful people.
Hello. Well, I'm saying hello from the beautiful people, clearly.
Sure. I wasn't mad about it. I liked it.
Oh, thanks. We're going to chat today about being a good mother.
Oh. What is
Or should I say
a good
how to be
mother?
a good mother?
Either.
Because there's lots of things that get thrown at us about how to be a good mother. Anyway, as you can see, it's a bit of a fire in my belly because I'm a bit over it and I feel like it's a huge contributor to all of the things that we carry in amongst our mental load.
Oh, there is no denying that everyone's opinion of what a good mother is directly affecting the mental health of multiple mums, me included.
I just feel like we all enter like motherhood with this preconceived idea of what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Or what, like,
It's been sold to us a very specific way.
it has, hasn't it?
Yes.
It's wild. What was that for you? Like going into motherhood, did you have a preconceived idea of what that looked like for you? Like how you would behave, what you would do?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I was that mum who had her baby and then like 3 days later was out walking with a coffee, and by coffee I mean Diet Coke, and like I was just gallivanting about, and my baby was beautiful, and everyone, like, we had matching outfits, and I was still being social. And
But this was after you had an incredibly traumatic.
oh no, this was before. This is what I thought it was going to be like.
Oh, this right, gotcha,
Before,
gotcha,
like my preconceived idea of this is what mum life is going to be for me. So I knew my life was going to change, but essentially it was going to be the cooking of the meals, and I was going to be a great wife, and I was going to be still doing like social media, and like that was all going to be beautiful and great. And but again, I remember me going, yep, because I bought the $1 million pram, and I was like, yep, we're going to go out and I'm just going to have a GC and I'm going to be trotting about with a full face on. And that just didn't happen for me. Look, let's be honest, I didn't walk anywhere for about 3 months. So that was a bit cooked. But what is a good mum? It's a conversation that could go on forever.
It is, but I think like I had that picture too. Like I just thought this is all going to come really naturally.
Yes.
This is all going to play out the way that they say it's all going to play out.
Like it's very simple. You're gonna get up and you're gonna feed your child, and you're gonna have playtime, and you're gonna do this. You're gonna get to dinner, and you're going to have fed them a beautiful, nutritious meal. What did I do? I fed them cheese and Straz at one point, and it was. And
I think you hit the nail on the head though, Jaz, when you said it's all very simple.
Yeah.
So there's this narrative
They're
of
babies. Like how hard can it be? Like I knew. Look, I always knew it was going to be difficult to, your life is forever changed, and you have a new identity essentially. Like I knew it was gonna, but like babies, particularly newborns, they don't do a lot. They're like they're really cute potatoes.
Yeah, they are
wrapped in pretty, things.
They eat.
They can't move
and sleep.
It's simple.
Yeah.
Oh, it's comical.
Yeah.
It's comical that people think that.
I know. What are the things that you said you'd never do that you ended up doing? I'm trying to rack my brain as well now.
What will I not do? He will not have an iPhone at the table. Like YouTube won't be a thing, which he does. by the way. If I'm going out for a meal, I'm going out for a nice meal with my friends or whatever, and I'm having adult time, and the only way I can get him to be quiet is to just pop on his favourite show or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely do that.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's 100 of them.
There would be. Like, that's a big thing for us as well, particularly as my two got older. And John, my husband, had a real thing, still has a real thing with it.
So, and you know what? So do I. But I do believe now, maybe I'm soft now, not sure, but there is a time and a place.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think it's when I'm out for I do fine dining with my husband. We try to do it once a month and go and be really up ourselves and get really dressed up and go do beautiful things that we used to do. And well, one, my son isn't invited, but if he was, I don't think that I'd be just pulling out Miss Rachel on YouTube. There's a time and a place.
But again, it's like whatever works for anyone.
What works for you might not work for the next person and vice versa.
Exactly. But I think this is also the myth around the good mother. Like, it's this expectation of, well, they're not doing it, so I kind of can't do it. Or the advice is I shouldn't do it, if, know, and it's like.
Google has literally destroyed us all.
I know.
What does Google think? Yeah, no. I've been thinking about this question now for a really long time, of what makes a good mother. And it couldn't be more accurate. What I have come up with, I think, is just showing up in the best capacity that you have. And for that day, if you are being super mum and you have the nutritional food and nap schedules on point, and you're learning and you're reading and you're going outside and they're getting fresh air and they're getting exercise, they're still being social, and you're being a good wife and you've cooked and you're still working, and you know what, some days that works, and you are being a super mum. But there are days that the only capacity that I have left is to give him to my mother.
Yeah.
If that's all you have that day, that is being a good mother. If you can just show up the best that you can on that day, because it's different for everyone and it's different. It changes all the time. And as we said before, what works for one mum doesn't work for another, and not holding judgment against someone else for their choices. And that's what I've come to. That's what I've come up with, is that being a good mother is just showing up the best you can on that day. Yeah. Whatever that looks like in your world, whether that's they've stayed in their pajamas all day and done absolutely, and you've gone through the drive-through twice. Yeah. And if that's what works for you that day, or meanwhile, if you're, absolutely smashing it that day, whatever's working for you on any given moment of any given day.
So this topic came up for us because we drew inspiration from an episode that came from what can only be described as a massive rant. Like, I know
it was outrageous.
Yeah,
I have never seen so many words fly out, and that's rich coming from me. Yeah, but I have never heard so many words come out of one woman's mouth.
I know. The delightful and funny Libby Ward of at Diary of an Honest Mum on Instagram. If you haven't checked her out, do it there. Look, there are some things that I love, and there are some things that I'm like, oh my God, that's just too much for me at this point in time.
Lots of words, so many words.
Yeah, lots of words.
Gets overwhelming at times.
Yeah. But she talks about the fact that there are so many ways to be a good mum.
But the message alone is brilliant.
Yeah.
The message of her, rant, for lack of a better word, is absolutely brilliant. There are, because essentially what it's about is she got caned on the internet by trolls who have nothing better to do with their time than, judge her for going back to work when she wasn't even making enough money
to cover the
childcare and whatever. And she has, in a roundabout way gone, that's what works for me. Me going back to work wasn't for a paycheck. No. It was for my sanity. And
her mental health.
That allows me to then have the space to be a good mum, because I've had my time. And that's what some people need. I know people that have gone back to full-time work, or that their partner is a stay-at-home dad, or they're a single mum and they've gone back to work and their child is in daycare 5 days a week and they have a nanny on a Saturday, or It's what works for you, you know?
I don't think we allow women and families to have the freedom to form whatever that looks like for them without judgment.
Say that sentence at the start again. I think I missed it. What did you say?
So I don't think we allow
we as women, we as people.
I think it's a bit of both.
Society.
And I'm going to be a bit controversial here and say
all right, I'm ready.
That I think women are the biggest judges of other women.
We are. That's not controversial. Well, I don't think it is. I think it's fact.
I see it a lot in mothers.
Well, I've copped it firsthand. I have copped some really nasty comments on the internet, and not one of them has ever been from a man.
Yeah, it's phenomenal how much we want to be this like, yeah, you be the version of you and blah 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 blah. But then we like. Well, I'd like to think I don't. But I see it on the internet.
Yeah.
The joys of the internet's good and it's bad.
Yes, it is.
But you do see those like comments and they're just scathing and they're horrible. And then it's like, well, where do you think we're going to end up? Like, where do you think we're going to go with all of this external noise that comes at us?
It's so loud.
To be this, to do this, to, it is so loud.
Yeah.
And it really needs to stop, but it needs to stop with us first. We need to, as mothers, stop judging each other. No, I'm not. I think I've just creating home and coming into this space has allowed me to see things.
I was going to say your eyes have been opened.
Yeah. Because I don't come into this from, a clinical perspective, or I don't have any of that sort of experience or technical training or knowledge.
I don't like this term, but you're just a mum.
I am. I'm just a mum. But I think, I've just seen this judgment upon judgment upon judgment.
And like, mum shaming.
Yeah, just stop. We need to support each other for whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
Because just because our choices or our opinions are our opinions doesn't make them wrong or right.
No.
They just are.
Yeah.
And I think that's something we certainly do here at home. When people are staying here, we're like, well, what does that look like for you? How does that make you feel? Does that feel good for you to do that? So do it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what the external noise is. But there's just so much mum shaming on the internet.
It's awful.
Yeah. And we're trying to do our best. We really are.
Yeah. Just showing up.
I think, if you're feeling happy and fulfilled, then you're going to feel more engaged. So if that means going back to work sooner,
do that.
If
that means not going back to work ever again, well, don't do that.
Yeah. And I have spoken to a lot of women recently who have not gone back to what they did. So either their birth or their, just becoming a mum has changed perspective on a lot of things.
That's me.
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of women I have spoken to, like in big corporate jobs, are like,
can't do it.
I can't do it anymore.
I don't want to.
No, I don't want to.
Yeah. I don't want to.
Yeah.
It's just it can be that simple. Yeah. I don't want to.
Yeah. And I think, that's okay, because if that is filling your cup and that is making you feel like a more engaged human being in this life, to thrive and not just survive.
Yeah, it's different.
Because I think this is
thriving and surviving. Yeah. So different.
Because I think we do. We toe this line of just surviving.
Oh, and do you know what? And some days I do. In one day, I could feel like both. In the morning, I am thriving. That's a click for everyone that I just annoyed. Sorry, sound guy, I know you're mad at me. But like in the morning, I'm like smashing life and I am thriving. Look at me go. And then it gets to 2 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm like, I need a Bacardi. And by 1, I mean 4. I can't function. Oh my God, this is awful. I'm just surviving. I'm barely getting through the day.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's, other people want to impart and share their opinions out of genuine concern and care, but sometimes they're not realizing that the feeling is judgment on the other end of the person.
Do you know
who's
what? Sometimes
it.
they're also very aware what they're saying is just pure judgment and they're just being nasty.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's there too, unfortunately,
absolutely.
but it's true.
Dusk in our last episode said that she felt...
Her name is Dusk.
Yeah.
Is that the coolest thing you've ever heard? That might be better than Jaz Flowers. Oh, what a pest.
Keep going. Changing your name.
Don't go changing.
Dusk said she felt that she couldn't be a good mother because she had had experiences with trauma.
Yep.
And so I think it's really easy for people to pass comment and judgment not knowing someone's full story.
Oh, yeah.
And I think this is a really big thing because everyone carries a story regardless of it being good, bad, otherwise.
Yep.
And I think before people make comments, they really need to just kind of pause and think about what they're going to say if they don't know that person. And, specifically on the internet, when you're making comments about someone else's choices or opinions, sometimes you don't know where that's coming from or why it's coming from.
You should lead with curiosity, not judgment.
Absolutely. And I just think there's a delicate part of this that we just need to be more aware of, because mothers are fragile.
Yeah.
At different points in their motherhood journey.
I think, do you remember, bless my father, he's a very emotional man. And
he's beautiful.
When you met him for the first time and he was like whispering to you in the corner, he's the one that's deaf. My ears work fine, Dad. But about how, this broke my daughter. Yeah. Like it broke her. She was bulletproof. Before any of this, she was bulletproof. And I was. Like anyone will tell you that. Yeah. And then afterwards, I am now on a day-to-day basis very fragile.
Yeah. Yep. And this is the thing also that Dusk talked about. She was talking about we're not all trauma aware. So don't presume that there is just a way to approach someone. And if you don't know, just don't say anything.
Lead with curiosity, not judgment.
Yeah. And just check if they're okay.
Yeah.
Just check in on them first.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you haven't listened to that episode with Dusk, it's a really beautiful episode. Dusk herself experienced significant trauma. So we talk a lot around how to engage around experiences of trauma. So it was a really beautiful episode. So if you'd like to go back,
I should go back.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. All mums are doing the best they can, Jaz, aren't they? We are.
I am, and the ones that I know are, and you are too. The people that are listening, you are. Stop crying in the car. Put the tissues down. I know you are. I was doing it too. We're all doing the best we can, and as the original question, what makes a good mum? Just showing up the best you can when you can.
When you can, yeah, I agree. Thanks everyone for listening.
Yeah, this is fun.
Fun? Yeah. Fun yet?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Should I come back? I'm coming back.
Yeah, come back.
I wasn't invited, just so everyone knows. I have not been invited. I've just invited myself.
Okay. You just walked in. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy. Have a beautiful day, whatever you are doing. And remember, you're an amazing mum.
Yeah, you are.
This podcast represents the opinions of our hosts and their guest speakers. Views and opinions expressed in the podcast are our own and do not represent that of our places of work. This podcast is for informational purposes only, and content here should not be taken as medical or professional advice. Please consult your healthcare professional for any personal recommendations and medical care. While we make every effort to ensure that the information we are sharing is accurate based on the best available information at the time of recording. We welcome any comments, suggestions, or feedback via our website contact form, home.com.au/contact. Names and details of personal experiences may have been changed to allow for anonymity and privacy. To join the conversation, join us on social media at Home Postpartum.